So hi guys, this week in the studio we have somebody who's a really fun, exciting guest. He's a friend, Mr. Jared Kott, and I always call him Jared, not Gerald Kott, but it's Kott. And we're going to be talking about today kind of what we do, the 257 model, buying properties, getting them rehabbed, and just creating massive cash flow out in the suburbs. This guy is doing that in the city. So Jared, how are you?
I'm awesome, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Great. Always love to have you. So, Jared, talk a little bit about kind of where you started. Really briefly, where you started and where are you today?
Sure. I started February 2013. I had no real estate background besides a corporate job, which I held for about 10 years. I was fired, and I bought a two-flat on the south side. And today we just broke the 60 unit count in units.
So 3.5, 4 years, 60 units, right?
60 units.
And in Southside, specifically where in Southside do you operate? What markets?
So South Shore, East Side, and South Chicago is our bread and butter.
Okay. So you're in markets that basically I know nothing about. Yet, the reason I wanted to have you here was, number one, you're one of those guys who's dynamic about what he does. You love what you do. You have a passion for the business. And on top of that, you're operating in a market which we don't necessarily go to. Geographically, it's a long ways for us. But yet, the model of buying great properties, finding phenomenal deals, rehabbing them, and being able to put good quality tenants and literally making money hand over fist. Not only can it be done in the northwest suburbs, the western suburbs, southern suburbs, but in the Chicago market itself, and you can do it successfully, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about kind of what are the numbers that you are seeing today. So we have a model, where we always say we kind of do a little bit hybrid version of what you do, which is we call it 257. That for any average person, right, if they can learn how to buy in 2 years, 5 properties and get them paid off, all of them paid off in 7, that they can be very successful. So what is kind of the numbers you look for in your market and what is going on in general?
So I'm primarily a cash flow investor. What I look for most is, why I went to those markets was low entry point and rehab costs totaling on a single family home. My all-in cost being no more than $75,000 with a cash flow net of nothing less than 400.
Okay, so let me just break this down. You said your all-in cost. That means your purchase, rehab, carrying cost, everything. You're in it in your markets for $75,000.
$75,000.
Right? And then after everything is said and done, you have a net cash flow of $400 to $450 per property.
That's correct.
Per door. So if it's a 2-unit, it's going to be about $850, $900, somewhere in that ballpark.
That's correct.
Right? Okay, good. So let me ask you this. When you're buying properties, did you kind of start out with a lot of money from somewhere? Or did you kind of piece together the pieces with some hard money lenders, with some private money lenders? How did that whole process start?
So the way I started was I had some liquid cash savings, small, from my corporate job, and then I had a little bit of retirement. And I decided that I can make more money using that than I could any other way. So the first purchase was done through the liquid funds that I had, and repeated about 5 or 6 properties down the line until I exhausted the resources, and then I went and used hard money.
Okay, so you use the classic technique, right? It's like in French cooking, there are certain techniques that once you understand the sauces, you can cook pretty much any meal. It's about the sauces, right? In real estate, it's about learning how to, number one, find a deal. Number 2 is find the money for the deal if you don't have it, right? And number 3 is getting it rehabbed. Then if you're going to rent it, putting the right tenants in the property, and then taking the money that you have in the deal out and still have it cash flow and make money every single month, and then repeat the process, right?
That's it.
It's a rinse and repeat process.
That's
So, a lot of times now, we have had you on radio, you've come and spoken at the RIA. A lot of people there, man, Jared really knows his, right? He has his act together. I'm like, you realize Jared wasn't at this point wasn't this confident. What do you say to people? A lot of people, I mean, there's thousands of people who listen to us, and they go, "Man, I'd love to do this." Where do they start? I mean, what is the first step? Do they go to the RIA? Do they go just jump in without any knowledge? And what do you say to them? Is there hope at this point in the real estate market?
Well, I think you got to use all the resources available. You know, go to the RIAs, listen to the podcast, scrub the data online. That's all great, but there comes a time you need to jump in.
So take action.
You have to take action, massive action.
Okay.
Hook up with an investor-friendly broker. Go see what a single-family home looks like in your market. Go see what a 2-flat looks like. See ones that are finished, that are retail. Also see ones that are distressed. Work with contractors. Start getting comfortable with what sort of money you have to put in these things to get right. There's tons of education out there. There's tons of classes. And you can absorb all that, but without massive action, I think you're just going to spin your wheels. You got to take
Nothing's
action.
going to happen.
Nothing.
Okay. So now let me ask you this. Why is it? I mean, you have that attitude. Frank Montroe has that attitude. A lot of people we tend to hang out with, right? I mean, my belief is this, that if you hang out with people that basically are doing nothing, you're going to feel like doing nothing. You hang out with people who are massive movers and shakers, you're like, oh my God, man, I'm a loser. I got to do something. And a better product comes out. Where the heck do you get this type of attitude, the gung-ho type of attitude, which I like to call it?
I think I was just born with it. I've always had it in everything I've done. I don't have much of a brake pedal. I have pretty much the mentality of all gas, although now I'm getting older, so I do tap the brakes occasionally. But I also have the mentality where, if you make a mistake, almost everything is fixable. It may cost you money.
Right.
I've lost tens of thousands of dollars in this business. Quite frankly, probably a lot more. But it's okay. We're going to make mistakes. Just don't make the same ones continuously, and you're going to be okay.
Okay, so you take basically calculated risk to the most extent,
Yeah.
right? And then if you make mistakes, and we're laughing about your mistakes, some of our mistakes, and what is experience? Experience is something that you learn after it's too late. But yet, some of it you have to have, right? Some of it, in business especially, to succeed, you have to have that experience. So.
Chicago Flipping with Andrew Holmes will return next Sunday at 12 noon. For information or questions about content of this show or to speak to Andrew, call 844-MONEY-55 or visit ChicagoCashflow.com to learn about upcoming seminars. That's 844-666-3955. And be sure to tune in next week.